Okay. Hello, everybody. What would a podcast or interview show be without some intro music? So for now, we'll call this the intro music. Let the show begin. John Saunders, welcome back.
Thank you, sir.
You, sir, are on deck. We did our first podcast years ago, so you've been a guest before, and I'm excited to have you back to spend some more time with you today, because there's a lot of stuff for us to talk about that we share in common in the field that we work. So
yes,
allow me to provide a short introduction. And if I get anything wrong, feel free to correct me. But because I'm calling myself this now, I'm going to call you the founder and principal of 5-4 Digital. Your company has been in business 10, 11, 12 years now.
Yeah, it'll be 12 years in next month.
Congratulations. That's a huge milestone. And you started and have been primarily building websites for all kinds of companies around the country, perhaps the globe, including ours. I think we might hold the record for taking the longest to complete. It could.
No. Listen, there's been times, man. There's been times. It's just it's ebbs and flows. You know what I mean? We go with the flow.
But you've built a great company. You have a great product. You provide great service to a lot of people in different businesses, and I know that you have a couple of other projects as well too, that you'll probably be better in explaining to me through the course of the conversation. But being that we have had a few conversations recently, I wanted to start by asking you, at what point in your life did you realize that you wanted to be an entrepreneur and actually have your own business? Was that a childhood thought, or did that develop along the course of your career?
When it comes to entrepreneurship and my trajectory in getting to that point, it didn't start young. I was never entrepreneurial. I didn't go door to door and sell things. I was kind of an introverted kid. I like to read comics and manga, and I like basketball, but I wasn't particularly good at it. So I kind of went with the fact that, hey, I could find a good company to work for. I can build my business. I mean, I can build my skills and repertoire there and see where it goes. And so I didn't really see entrepreneurship as an option until I started working at Herman advertising, right? So I was working in banking for a while as a cashier, worked up to a personal banking specialist. This is back when Bank Atlantic was around. I don't know if anyone remembers.
I remember, sure.
The OG, but ultimately I wanted to go into marketing. I wanted to go into advertising. I wanted to be a copywriter. And so I had read Ogilvy on advertising back in the day, and I just really enjoyed just creating ads and being creative. I felt like that was a way that I could take my creativity. I love to write, I love to draw, and kind of have that conveyed in a business, right? And so I worked at the bank and I applied to all these agencies. Everybody said no. It's like 20, 25 agencies all here. Everyone said no. I came into your office, and it was in Fort Lauderdale. I'll never forget. It was like a small office. It was a little kind of, it was on a little shady side of Fort Lauderdale.
Oh yeah, it was crazy.
And I pulled up and I was like, I'm looking for a position. Here's what I've done. It was just like spec projects. And I think you took a liking to me, as well as Ellen, who worked at the office. And then you guys were like, listen, we're moving to a new location. We want to bring you in. We'll hire you. And once I got that job there, man, I really got to see what it was like running a business. So working alongside, I think, a CEO is important, especially when you come into a business and you have ideas and thoughts, because you can learn so much in being in that position. And so learning from you, learning from other leaders in the space, I was like, wow, man, this is definitely potential. Because I saw you take Herman advertising from, it was like 5 or 6 of us. At one point, we were like 25, 30 people. You had all these different compartments and departments and people running different things. And I was like, I saw from the ground up how feasible it was to do that. And so once I was at Herman, I think it was like 3.5-year mark, I didn't even know I wanted to be an entrepreneur then, but I had the opportunity to work at MPH Club, and I could work there part-time and kind of work on some ideas and thoughts I had on the side. And so that's when I took that position. And once I was there, I saw the upside of working for myself and being able to, quote unquote, like create your own destiny, right? Where I could have ideas, I could have thoughts, I can make these services and things, and I can implement them in real time. And then people would pay me for these services outside of working in a specific position. But I think I want to preface that, and I think it's important to work for someone else, to really learn the ropes, to really develop your skills before you set out on your own, because it's just going to give you more ammunition to be successful.
Yeah, well, it certainly can't hurt, right? I mean, to be in an environment like you were, where you learn so much quickly, because you're not only working every day, but you're around a bunch of people that are also doing the same thing, and so I think that your ramp up speed is quicker, right?
Yeah.
And that's not to say that there aren't business owners or entrepreneurs that just started something from scratch and just did it. There's
True.
I mean, there's millions of them, and there's millions of successful ones, and they found a way. Everybody like finds the pathway to it, right? I mean, I guess, you could call yourself an entrepreneur. I could call myself an entrepreneur. I sometimes use the word, and I don't even feel like it's an accurate description, right? To me, like, an entrepreneur is like, somebody who, they're just, they dream it up, they think of it, and they start with nothing, and they just go and they figure it out, which I guess we've sort of done, but that wasn't exactly my pathway. But the fascinating thing about it is that there's so many ways to do it, and there's only one way to get started.
Yeah.
And that's just to
do it.
Fucking get started, right?
Lock in. You got to lock in.
So what were your first steps? Like, when you said, okay, I think I can do this, what did you actually do to take the step?
Okay. So while I was at the exotic car rental company, I was doing all their website stuff. So I was doing web design, I was doing development, I was doing their SEO. So I was almost like managing that entire department. And they had an upward trajectory as well. They only had like maybe 5 or 6 cars. It was really dope in the beginning because I got to drive everything: Lambos, Ferraris, Audis, because you have to drive the vehicles to be able to sell it. And so I would drive the vehicles, and then I would write content. I'd do the research. And so I started to build up their organic traffic that way, just doing technical SEO on the back end. And while I was there, I was working there from maybe like 9 to 2:30ish. Once I left, I would come home. My wife and we had just bought a townhouse. We didn't have any kids yet. And so we didn't have a lot of like outside responsibilities. Deandra, my wife, also worked as well. So once I got home, I would lock in, and I would just be like, okay, who can I talk to? I would call local businesses. I would talk online. I would create social media content, and I would talk about, hey, we do web design, we do branding, we do development. Who can I help? That's what you got to do, man. We craft branding and web design. It's like you have to. I'm so glad you brought that up, because you have to build it up to the point where, you're building your team. You have to think forward in regards to how you're building it out. And
absolutely. You always have to say we. You always have to say we, but especially it's funny. Default. Yeah, but when you're first starting, that's really funny. You're like, here's what we do, and we craft
beautiful projects. Meanwhile, I'm in the corner of the living room in a makeshift desk.
That's beautiful.
So I got the first client I got, I'll never forget. It was a pest control company. It was a friend of a friend. He had a pest control company, and I did my first invoice. I just looked at this invoice a month ago, and it was for $1,100, my first website build. Now, for that, I built 40 pages, 25 additional SEO pages, managed their social media for like 3 months. It was like a lot. The invoice was like this long, and the price was like this much. But that project allowed me to say, wow, we can do this. It's feasible. We saw upward mobility with the website. It started to gain traction. And so I leveraged that one project into the next one as a case study. And I used that as social proof to get the next project. And then the next project was a little bit more, maybe 1,200, maybe 1,500.
Mm-hmm.
And I started to increase that incrementally over time. And then once it got to the point where I couldn't do anything else, that was when I made my first hire. And I hired a developer, because I couldn't spend 3.5 hours working on a banner. I could be out selling, and I can be out doing other things. And so I hired our first developer. I'll never forget him, Amit. That's my guy. He still does some of our stuff to this day. And he was the first developer that I hired, my first hire. And so he helped me build out those websites while I can go out and sell.
Now, what was entailed with the go out and sell? How did you do that?
Yeah. It was hard for me because I can be very introverted. Like, I kind of think too much about things. And so physical events weren't the greatest thing for me. So I was like, you know what? I know what I have to do. I have to create content. So I started to create YouTube videos. I created Instagram content, LinkedIn content, and it was just me talking about the process of building. Like, hey, here's what we do for web design. Here's our exact process, and just sharing it out in the world, thinking I know all this stuff. I'm starting to learn. Anything I would learn, I would just create a video and content around it. And so what happened over time was it almost became thought leadership. Like when people needed web design, when they needed development, they would think of 5-4 Digital. They would think of us, right? Our company, because I was top of mind. I was always in the feed, always creating content. And then what also helped with that was local marketing. So people were seeing me locally. Hey, can you come speak at this event? I'll be there. I didn't charge a dime for 5 years. I didn't charge anything. I was like, what do you want? Fort Lauderdale? I'll be at West Palm. I'm there. Pines, I'm there. I would drive out and I would do a pitch, and it would just be value-based content. I wouldn't even be selling. And that's how I started to build up a really big organic referral base. And so people just started to refer their friends, their others, and it started to branch out from there.
All right, so let's back up. So you literally, okay, so you're working for the car company,
yes,
which I mistakenly the other day called the Billionaire Boys Club, but it was the MPH Club, right?
Yes, yeah.
Right? And so you work there like 2:30, you go home and you just start doing your thing. You land one client, you give them everything under the sun for nothing, right? Just to show I can do it.
Exactly.
And then you start shouting into the void.
That's it.
Literally.
No, literally. And it's like, it can be disheartening sometimes because you create this content. Oh man, people are going to love this. One like, no comments. It's like, okay, well, let's keep going.
But see, I love that. And I didn't realize that I remember seeing your content at that time. And I remember also seeing you going and speaking at different events and what have you. And I didn't realize that at that stage, you gave the impression that you were further along than you were, right? Which is important. And number two, the commitment that it takes to because you're yelling into the void, right? You're creating content in your place that you know is good, and you're putting it out there like so many people do.
Yeah.
And then it's like, well, is anybody
watch it? Yeah.
Is anybody going to see it? Does anybody care? Right? And the only thing that you can do is just keep doing it, right? Yeah. Which is what you did. And then somebody sees something, right? And then it's a great story of organic social media growth that fundamentally led to you being able to develop a company.
Yeah. Yeah.
Incredible. It's fucking awesome, man. Congratulations.
Thank you. Thank you, Chris. No, it's much appreciated.
I get sucked back, a lot. Most people that know me that I'm in, I've always been into punk rock and hardcore. And the more that I see content of like the old dudes, right, that were the big guys in the 70s and 80s and all the bands that I used to listen to that all my friends thought were shit, and the music was dumb and it was, so many of these, and in my case it's guys, doesn't mean it has to be guys, but so many of these guys, you listen to them speak now about how they built their thing from zero, nothing, nobody giving a shit, facing the toughest odds, grueling through the worst conditions, and now they're in their 60s, and many of them have developed publishing companies and record labels, and they're successful beyond their wildest dreams. They still live a very modest life, and they did a different version of that, right? Exactly. So you did the modern day version of do it yourself, go out there and turn it into something, which is...
I guess I never thought of it from that perspective, but yeah, absolutely.
You did it yourself.
Yeah.
It's not to say that you didn't have a ton of people helping you along the way. Of course you did. But and I can't even say that I didn't do that, right? But my father and I years ago partnered. We bought an existing agency, went in, I got my arms around it and said, okay, and then rough and tumble. Yeah. So I had a running start, right? That most people don't have, and I'm extremely thankful for that. That, of course. I don't know that made it easier or whatever, just different. But the fact that you were able to start it from literally an idea into what you've turned it into today is really remarkable. I have a tremendous amount of respect for you and for what you've done.
No, thank you, Chris, and likewise.
Thanks, man. What were, when you were in that beginning phase? What were the biggest challenges?
Biggest challenges. I think there's a few. I would say one was just exposure, right? Getting into the right hands, getting into the right networks and people, because I feel like that's the hardest part, is just to break into specific networks where people can see your work and know that you have the ability to accomplish the task that they're looking to get done. I would also say that is you just don't know what you don't know. And you're kind of grasping at straws. Of course, you have online, you have the internet, you have all of these platforms where you could search and learn. And I was watching YouTube videos, I was reading books, I was absorbing as much as I could from anything that was out there. And so it was just overwhelming to the point where it's like, where do I start? Where do I go? What do I, kind of what avenue do I stay on? And so in the beginning, you'll see in the agency we were a marketing agency. So we did it all. We did web design, we did web development, we did Facebook ads, we did technical SEO, we did everything in that gamut. And so the hardest thing was really focusing our efforts on a few core services and then having an ideal clientele that we wanted to work with, because we were just kind of doing everything.
While you were going through that, right?
Yeah.
And you did a lot of the same things that I did, and not the same things, but meaning like, we're going to do everything,
Yeah,
right? Like,
exactly.
Don't specialize. Like, well, what can you guys do? We do everything. We can do it.
Exactly.
Part of it was like, survival,
Yeah.
You wanted every revenue stream possible. And also it was sort of like, can we do everything, right?
Exactly.
Turns out usually at some point in time you realize there's some things you're just not that good at.
Yes,
but
absolutely.
During those early days when it was still, tenuous and what have you.
Yeah.
What was the inner dialogue for you like your head to you as you're going through this? In those moments, because there's plenty of moments.
Yeah.
When you're on your own to some degree, that you wake up in the middle of the night and you're laying there and you're going, holy shit, how am I going to get through this? Or what, right? What was the internal dialogue like for you? Do you remember?
Yeah. Ooh, I think at that point, the internal dialogue for me was, I want to make enough to pay my bills.
Right.
But I want to have a buffer where I could grow this exponentially outside of just myself. And so I think there's a lot of pressure, especially when you're an entrepreneur, from all these different sides. You have your role as the owner, you have your role as a leader, you have your role as a dad, as a parent, as a brother. So there's just so many different roles coupled into one, and entrepreneurship is almost like the culmination of all those roles, because you feel like if you don't succeed, then your family, your team members, you're letting everyone down. And I think that consistent pressure has always made me want to go harder. And so back then I was working 13, 14, 15 hours a day. I'd go to sleep, I'd wake back up, I'd work again until 2 o'clock, 3 o'clock in the morning. And I don't think it's smart to work that way, but I felt like at that moment, it was what I needed to really focus my efforts and build the business. And so I don't know if I had like that internal dialogue. It was more so fight or flight. Like I was like, I got to go, I got to move. And if I was having those thoughts, I would get up and I would go and just go work.
Get back to work.
My office was literally in the living room. I had a desk in the living room.
Right. And
then when Logan, my first, was born, his stuff was like all around it, and I would just be working right there. And I just made it happen. I had the green screen in the back. Or have it face the wall, and then that was it. That was it.
It's incredible. My experience was similar in the sense that I don't know that I gave it a lot of thought. Right. Well, once you're in it, and it's there's a list of 20 to 30 things that always need to be done.
Yeah.
And the best time usage was, we'll just be working on that stuff, right? Whatever it was. I can remember many nights. My team will know now because they go through it, but the beginning of the month in retail automotive, which you'll remember, all the new incentives come out, all the manufacturer programs, and all the dealers send in their specials. And that's when it's like, it's go time, right?
Apply everything.
You got to write all the scripts, and at that time, 20 years ago, it was a lot of radio, a lot of TV.
Yeah.
And, so I regularly at the beginning of the month, I'd be at the office till 2, 3 in the morning, getting all the scripts done. So I could get them out for approval, get them into the studio on time. And it's like, I don't know, and I'm sure you felt the same way. It It felt better to be doing that. Like, it felt better to be coffeeed up, right? And grinding at 2 a.m. than it did to be sitting around worrying and wondering, how's this shit going to get done, right?
Yeah, yeah.
Now, so you were married at that time as well, too.
Yeah, so I got, let me see, I'm 40 now. I got married. I was 27. Yeah. So, yep.
Right.
I was married. And then Logan wasn't born until I was like 32, 33. So when I started the business, it was like I was going crazy.
Your wife was working as well, too.
Yes.
Right? But when you're in a situation like that, now it's not just you.
Yeah.
Now it's you and her. You've got your own partnership going, right? Where that has its dynamics that you have to factor in as well too. I'm sure she was super supportive of the.
Oh, absolutely. It was. I mean, I couldn't have got the business to the point where it is right now without her, because she was working. I mean, listen, we both weren't making a ton of money together, but we had low cost of living. We had a mortgage that was low. We had a townhouse. Like, she was working full time. I was working full time as an entrepreneur. And so I almost had a reprieve in a way where if I did have a bad month, she could help out. Right. Or she could supplement that. So keeping the cost of living low and then her also working was a huge benefit to me to be able to go and get it. And I didn't have the consistent pressure of, oh, damn, how are we going to eat tonight? You know, it was more so like, I got to go, I got to work so I can supplement our lifestyle and be able to build this over time.
Looking back, if you were to look back on your childhood, where do you think some of this characteristic or behavioral traits in yourself, where do they come from? Like, where does the drive and where does that sense of confidence, A, the ability to dream it and think this is what I want to do, and then B, the actual getting it done?
It's crazy. So there's a crazy dichotomy between my mother and father. So my mom, immigrant from Barbados, came here when she was 6, lived in New York with her 3 siblings. She saw my father, who worked in banking, but he was kind of aloof. My mom, my grandmother, who was very quiet, but took care of the kids. And so my mom left the house at 17, went into business. Worked in corporate for a while, ended up getting her bachelor's, her master's, became an educator and a teacher for 34 years. So I got to see my mom's trajectory of starting out and getting to the point of reaching her goals. Mm-hmm. And my dad, on the other side, he's a trip, man. He was a wild guy. He couldn't really keep a job. He was all over the place, aloof. I mean, I will say he was there. He taught me how to ride a bike, taught me how to play basketball. He was there in that capacity.
Right.
But I saw how he just never really focused his efforts on building a life for his family, right? And so that was, for me, a wake-up call to be like, I don't ever want to be in that position where I can't support my family, can't take care of my family. And I saw my mom and how much she struggled, because she was a teacher. She wasn't, it wasn't a high-paying position. And so I got to see my mother and father and both of their lifestyles and how they were and how they are now. And I was like, that was always my biggest, I'd say, motivator, because for me, being broke and not having money is like the only thing that keeps me up at night. You know what I mean? Everything else I can control, everything else I can navigate through, but not being able to take care of my family is, that's the nightmare right there. And so everything I do is in accordance with that mantra of going and getting it by any means necessary.
It's interesting. I don't know if you feel this way, but I'm a big believer that life is happening for us, not to us, right? And so you could look back on the situation with your dad and say, okay, well, maybe that wasn't ideal, or, and I'm not casting any opinion about it, right? But, my father also left when I was young. I'm not saying your father left, but my father left, so I had a different relationship with my dad growing up. It sounds like you had a different relationship with your dad, right? That maybe your dad didn't fulfill the typical, he didn't fill the role, right?
Yeah.
My dad in many ways, but also in some of the traditional ways didn't as well too. And I look back on that and I wonder if you do too, and say, well, that was like a necessary experience to go through to give you the ability where you're at now to say, I wouldn't do it that way, and I'm not going to do it that way, and this is more important to me. Hence, that's another motivating factor for you to
part
succeed.
Of I mean, you and me, I'm a big comic manga nerd. So there's a thing.
What's manga?
Manga is like Japanese comics.
Okay, all right.
Yeah. So it's comics, but So in the Spider-Verse movies, right? There's something called a Canon event, And when a canon event, it happens in every single version of the universe, right? And in that canon event, there's something that huge happens to the main character, and it changes the trajectory of their lives. And so when that happens, it creates another multiverse, right? So just thinking hypothetically, of course, but let's say if my dad wasn't like that, right? That moment might have changed my trajectory and how I develop as a person. So it's like you said, it's part of who we are, right? It's part of our DNA, and you gotta roll with it and just keep it moving.
Oh, you gave me a good word for a nice segue into from the past to the now.
Yeah.
We in this industry, let's call it branding, creativity, marketing, whatever you want to, whatever the word is, right? We are facing a Canon event.
Yeah, man.
Are we not?
That was a nice segue, man.
How'd you
I already
like that?
know where you're going. Yes. I like it. I like it, Chris. That's a nice one.
We are facing a Canon event that's not only going to change the trajectory of our businesses and our careers and our families. It's gonna change the world.
Yeah,
it already is.
Yes.
And it's we're 1 to 5 years from massive
it's getting
disruption.
Crazy, my guy. It's getting
right?
crazy.
Of course, we're talking about AI.
Yeah.
And we had a conversation about this the other day. How are you looking at it as a business owner?
Mm-hmm.
How are you looking at as out of the two of us, certainly more the technology person, right? How are you looking at it?
So with AI, artificial intelligence, I'm plugged into tech. Every day I'm reading articles, I'm getting notifications, newsletters. I've never seen anything as game-changing as these AI tools. And so it's really, one, understanding the technology, and then two, being able to implement it where it's actually improving your business. Because a lot of people are like, oh yeah, I'm doing this cool thing with AI and da-da-da-da. But is it pushing the envelope? Is it making your life easier when it comes to business? And so for me, I've always been tapped into standard operating procedures. Like, we run our agency with a list of just different operating procedures that we use that are proprietary to our agency that help us fulfill the tasks that we need to get done for clients. And so I think one thing that we've done is take those systems and incorporate those into the LLMs, or the limited language models like ChatGPT, like Perplexity, like Claude, and then being able to get an output that helps us save time. Now, a lot of these AI tools are tapping into the things that we do, right? Design, development. I mean, yesterday, ChatGPT just came out with an image generator that's insane. You can generate brand guidelines and assets and logo-based content. I mean, these are things that used to take us, a week, 2 weeks to develop with a client. People are able to output this quickly. So it puts us in a position of, where do we go when it comes to market? Are we going to go up and make our product a premium product, right? Where you get a human element, you get brand discovery, you get someone sitting down with you and really taking your idea and culminating that into the best thing. And so I feel like there's going to be a big switch for a lot of people to tap more so into that human element. And then you'll have others that leverage AI to help them fulfill tasks, and then maybe change their cost or pricing structure to accommodate that.
Mm-hmm. Okay, so lots of things there. To touch into.
Of course.
Let's talk about the human element first.
Okay.
From my perspective, when I look at the non-stop dialogue on social media
it's
about
insane.
AI, particularly on LinkedIn.
Yes.
I don't know if you get a lot of this. I mean, it's, on my LinkedIn feed, it's every day there's 7 articles by some pseudo genius in the marketing industry talking about what an agency needs to do, or how this is disrupted, or that's going to be this, or this is going to be that. Most of them all seem to be, advisors and consultants, right?
Yeah.
Who have all day to sit around and they can write an article for the day, right?
Yeah. Or they're just using LLM to write it up.
Yeah, exactly. And maybe that sounds dickish, but it's like, to a certain degree, when you're people like us that have lived in the trenches and know what it's really like to run a business and know what it really means to lose an account, bring an account, go through that, sometimes these articles just seem like overly pontificating. It's like, all right.
Yeah.
Okay. Yes, it's going to change the world. Is the whole world going to wake up in 5 years saying, man, I just love the fact that every single thing in my life is created by this mysterious, powerful computer, and I don't have to do shit. I don't have to interact with people. Everything is just generated automatically, right? Like, is that where we are going as a species? I don't think so. I hope not, right? I hope not. And there's things that give me great amounts of encouragement in that, right? I don't care if you're a religious person or not a religious person. Apparently, young people are going back to church. like that's happening, right?
Yeah.
People are young. The younger generation in the young 20s are saying, hey, man, we need something more. I'm not saying that's the right or wrong thing to do, right? Whatever.
They need community.
But people are going back to seek a sense of community, right? You think
Gen
about
Z also is the biggest moviegoers right now as well.
What's that?
Gen Z or Gen Alpha?
Whatever they're called.
Yeah, no, I think it's Gen Alpha are the biggest moviegoers right now.
I think that after all these years of social media, it just seems to me that you would hope that people are still going, this is not fulfilling me, right? Mm-hmm. What these gigantic companies are promising me and showing me in the form of products and entertainment and experience, and it's all the over the top, overly produced stuff. I hope that people are getting to a point where they say, you know what, we're losing something here, and maybe there is a tipping point where it just becomes inevitable. I don't know. But when I think about the AI thing, and I'm sorry because I'm running on your answer.
No, you're good.
I think we are in an incredible position to be able to use all of this technology and this information to help us create, to help us build our businesses, to help us live life, to help us just act. I mean, just when you think I'm asking a question into ChatGPT or Grok or Perplexity, and I'm potentially getting an answer that is considering all of the thought in human history that can be inputted into this thing, it's pretty badass when you can extract out of it what you need. Now, we talked about this also. It sure does seem to say, hey, John, that's a great idea. You're heading down the right track right now. Right? You're like, whew, pretty smart here.
Exactly.
Right?
Yeah, it's wild. I think we have two kind of paths that we can look at with AI. This is just my personal opinion. Mm-hmm. One, I think that there's going to be more of a premium that you're going to pay for the human element of hiring a specialist, whether that's in branding, design, strategy. I think there's going to be a premium that comes with that, because now it's not based on just general knowledge. It's based on your personal experience, right? So if you've worked in automotive for the majority of your life in this advertising world, and Porsche's like, listen, we need a guy that knows this. Yeah, the chat and all that, it's great. And it's going to take the median of what's out there, because that's all it is. When you think of an LLM, it's the median. It's the middle of everything that's been culminated. You as an individual that has expertise in the automotive industry, you have more than an LLM could ever offer, right? You have, well, there was one time we were working and the track looked like this. We could you know what I mean? You have all that personal experience. So I think the human element is going to become almost premium. And then I think with AI just as a whole, it's just going to create a lot of just sameness. And I think people are going to look for that human element, that human outlet, to make things feel organic and real. So for example, Project Hail Mary. Have you heard of the film that came out recently? It's a movie. It's like a sci-fi film starring Ryan Gosling, based on a book by Andy Weir, who's a big sci-fi guy. He wrote The Martian, he wrote Artemis, he wrote Project Hail Mary.
Okay.
And so when you watch this movie, it just looks real. It feels organic. It's in space, of course, but they built out all the sets. There's no green screen. They use like this IR, like special camera, to capture this one shot and this one part of the film. And the film just looks so good, right? And then you look at other films and they're like, the whole thing is green screen. it just looks dated. It looks cheap. It looks cheesy, right? So if you compare, like, for example, Stranger Things season 1 to Stranger Things, the newest season, when it became super popular, it just looks kind of cheesy, right? And so that human organic element is what's going to become important. Phil Lord, who's the producer on Project Hail Mary, they were adamant about using like traditional props. Even, I don't want to spoil it, but there's a character in the film, he's actually moved by a puppeteer, and just has like this organic, very raw, real feel. And I think that's what people are going to lean more so towards, especially as just AI becomes more of the same. And then just to add one more thing, you could also look at it from the other side, which is what we're doing as an agency, is incorporating AI to our overall workflow so that we can really focus more so on the creative stuff. So for example, if we have to go and run reports and do all this stuff, that could take 45 minutes. If I can automate the report, get the data automatically, now I can spend more time creating. So I think it can work on both sides for success. We just don't know how far it's going to go. It could be you just push one button and boom, everything's created, and you could just go and frolic. You know what I mean?
And that it would seem that it's already there or getting close to that.
Yeah, every day it's a new update. Every day.
And so, but even still, though, when we can do that, right?
Yeah.
Just because we can do that, and it has the power to do that.
I see where you're going.
Is that going to generate the result? Because to quote my first mentor, which is Jordan Zimmerman, it's not about the output, it's about the result, right? So the work that we do, right? And I always love that he was kind of like, he was not down with all the advertising award shows and let's get up on the stage and get our trophy because we made the best commercial. He's right. It's like that shit doesn't matter, right?
Yeah.
What matters is, did the work that you do, that you did for your client, did it help them?
Yeah.
Now, that's getting harder to ascertain, even though we have more information than we've ever had about how everything's performing.
Yeah.
I think it's gotten much more difficult to see if something actually worked, unless it's like a very specific targeted something, right? But like in terms of overall impact to a business, it's difficult to see that, at least in the retail automotive space, right? But coming back to the point, okay, let's say with AI we can make the most amazing cool stuff, and it's quick and it's easy and it's cost efficient. Okay, great. Does it generate the result? Yeah. Do consumers watch it and look at it and go, "Oh, that really speaks to me"?
There it is. Right now they say AI slop. That's the term, AI slop.
Right? It's sort of like, "Oh, well, that's really cool."
Yeah, yeah.
Okay, but did it fundamentally touch whatever it needed to touch inside of a person to get them to go, "Oh, I'm going to take action on that product," or whatever it is, right? And that's fundamentally what it is that we're trying to do, whether you're building websites and branding or doing SEO or making content or whatever. At the end of the day, we're doing it because we're trying to help the client grow their business.
Exactly.
That's it. And is it growing the business or is it not?
That's it.
And does that, no matter how good it gets, does it translate or does it not? Or does it just become another overly polished turd?
Facts, man.
Right?
And is it sustainable? I mean, AI right now, they have all these data centers. They have to keep opening more data centers. Companies like OpenAI are spending $6 for every dollar they make. I mean, how are these companies sustainable for the long term? I don't know.
How is anything in terms of the global economy sustainable? Like none of it really seems to make much sense to a layperson such as myself. But right, at what point in time, and it's too late. Like this, right? Like this, we're gonna witness this
in real time
over the next 5 to 6 years in real time. Yeah. Not only as AI advances to levels that, I don't know if you saw, I still on Saturday mornings do a recap. I know Jeff, I think Jeff does. I'll watch Bill Maher's program from the night before. I'll watch like New Rules or whatever he does.
Yeah.
And this last one, he's like, okay, this AI shit's got to, like, we need to pump the brakes because
Yeah.
When all of the significant leaders of AI companies are scared about what it's doing, right? Like maybe we ought to just like chill for a second here, right?
Yeah.
Nobody's gonna chill because
No.
there's too much
Foot on the
economic
gas, man.
driving to push this, right?
It's our entire. I mean, the U.S. is basically built on this right now. The AI. I mean, it's scary stuff. It's crazy.
Right. So it's happening.
Yeah.
It's gonna happen, and in the next 5 to 6 years, okay, we're gonna have that, and we're gonna have robots.
Yeah. Robots, man.
Right?
Robots,
I mean, we're within a year or two of people being able to have household consumer level robots doing chores and work and things.
I've seen two that
in the house.
Like they look. I mean, Tesla has their bot.
Right.
I think it's like 30,000, and they'll do like household chores, and then they have another one. It's like almost like a lamp, and then that lamp will fold your clothes and do things, and it'll move. So it's basically like a lamp on your nightstand, and then it'll activate, and it could do stuff like around the house.
Right.
I think we're still far from that stuff. I don't see a normal consumer having these things in their house yet.
Yeah, but if you're talking it's $30,000 now, John, I mean,
I know, but
okay, I'm not saying that's
have
not a
people
lot
never
of money,
seen
but
Terminator?
fine. Well, but that's you put that on a 60-month term, and somebody's paying $250 or $300 a month for their household robot.
Yeah.
Somebody wouldn't pay $300 a month to have somebody knock out 60% of the household
think
chores.
about it. You pay that if you have someone coming in once a month to clean your house. Yeah,
exactly.
Yeah, it's feasible,
right? So we're so
it's
close
wild.
to.
It's wild, man. It's wild.
So I think I was telling you. You asked me like, well, I said, my business plan is like in two big chunks, right?
Yeah.
I've said this is a transitional year, and then I look at 5 years from 2027 to 2031 to 32, about that window.
Mm-hmm.
That's just fucking go, grow, build it up, get this podcast rolling, get our production company cranking, take Herman and build it from retail automotive into, other verticals, Then I hit 25 years in business, and that's like my halfway point, right?
That's it.
Now, I could stand at that halfway point and go, oh, yeah, we got another 25 years, right? I could also, at that halfway point, be like, time to buy a farm.
That's it. That's it, man. We might need to get the farm now. Start putting some chickens, get some cows.
My daughter would love that.
I mean, I've seen what you can get from a cow for like one cow. It's like enough meat for like 2 years almost.
Oh, I know. I see all this stuff online as well too, man. Oh, look, here's this could feed our whole family.
Right?
One cow, right?
It's crazy. It is crazy.
We'll be butchering.
Hey,
barter trade.
Yeah,
right.
Man, do what you gotta do.
Wearing overalls.
Get some eggs. Get the eggs popping. I'm ready. Oh man.
Seriously. Who knows, right?
Who knows?
Where, I mean, I'm sure every person and every generation is at a point in their life where they go, can you believe what's about to happen, right?
I know.
We're going to launch a spaceship into space. We're going to launch the space shuttle. Whatever, technological revolution is going on.
Absolutely.
But this one
feels a little different. But I don't know. Maybe last generations felt like this too in some capacity. I don't know. I guess we'll see.
I guess
From radio to TV, you know what I mean? I don't know.
Right.
I guess we'll see.
What creative things that, we've talked about this as well too, right? When you're a founder, you have your own business, right? And you have a team and you have people doing stuff, right? There invariably comes times when you're more involved in the process, and there are other times when you are less involved in the process because things are kind of running, right?
Yeah.
And when things are running, it can be a little bit, you give yourself a little, right? Don't worry, that fucking crack on the ass is coming. It's coming. It always is.
Yeah.
Right? But when you have those times, what do you do? What do you like to do to keep yourself, stimulated? And maybe this would be a good segue into some of your other projects.
Yeah. Man, that's a great question. And sometimes you do feel stagnant sometimes in the agency when you've delegated most of the work and you're kind of like, okay, well, what should I focus on now? So a few things. One, a few years ago, started up a project called Black Illustrations. We create illustrations of people doing all types of amazing things. That's been running for, I think, close to 4 years. It does really well. And that was just kind of a side project we started just to fulfill a need for more diverse illustrations. That became its own business. And that pretty much runs on autopilot. Like, we have illustrators that work there, and then I have an ops manager who basically runs that business. And so outside of that, I launched a business with my business partner over there. His name is Logan. He's 8 years old. And so we started a company called Glowing Cheetah Studios. So it's a creative studio where we just come up with cool, fun ideas and we launched them. And so the first one he came up with, is Pigeon's Mission. It's a video game, side scroller, old school, where he drew up all the characters, the story, the overall design, basically all of that. And we worked with a pixel designer and developer, made our own small team, and we launched this we started about 2.5 years ago. It just launched on Steam about 3 or 4 months ago, and then we're going to launch on iOS and Nintendo Switch in the next coming months. So it's been a lot of fun.
I think that's so cool. That's one of those things that I think, what?
I mean, it's crazy because Logan was like, he's like drawing sketches, and he's like, I'd love to make a video game. And I sat and I'm like, well, maybe we could do it. Maybe we could make a quick like 1-level game. He's like, no, I got like 7 worlds here. Look, this is the grass world, and this is the snow world, and this is the rocky monster, and this is the attack that he has. And I'm like, this is crazy. Like we got to do this. And so we started the process, and that was it. That's all she wrote.
That's incredible. So you're keeping extremely busy, right? Are you giving yourself some time to just, enjoy life as well too?
Yeah, man. Yeah. I love anything creative. So drawing, reading, writing, just hanging out with the family, the outdoors. Those are the things that really get me excited and back to, I guess, a sense of peace.
So then let's close on looking back to the future a little bit. If you look at at yourself, your family, where you're at, what you're doing in life, and you look over the next, let's call it 5 to 6 years, right? Let's pretend you're
okay.
You're like Chris Herman, you're blocking things out in chunks. What would you like to accomplish? Where do you want to see yourself in 5 years as you go through this
absolutely
window that we're in here?
Absolutely. So the goal would be to work myself to the point where 5-4 Digital is on autopilot completely. Right now, it's about 90%. I want to get to the point where we maintain the quality, and I could run it for another 3 to 4 years and potentially get acquired, right? And so I would love to be able to dedicate more time to some of my passions. I love creative writing, and just tap in more so to those types of things in the creative space. Really tap in with the company that Logan and I launched called Glowing Cheetah Studios. So start some other things like a comic or another book or another game, right? Really, really move into that space of doing just creative projects for fun. There's a company called The Line that they do something like that, where basically they make videos and content for other companies, but then on their off time, they just do creative projects. So that would be the goal, to just do creative projects until, kick the bucket. That's it, man. Just enjoy it, because I feel like right now I really have no complaints. Of course, there's ebbs and flows with business, but I feel like the life that I've created, the time that I get with my family, the time that I get on the business is great. I have an amazing team at the agency, and so I just want to continue doing this, just potentially work myself out of the business a little bit more so I could just do more creative projects. Yeah.
Amen to that.
Amen to that.
Let's wrap it there. John,
let's do it.
Number one, it's always great to spend time with you.
Likewise.
That's why we do this, the face-to-face. See, I can look into your eyes right now. I can see the light there.
Yeah. And I see the blues, man. I see the baby blues over there. The lady killers over there.
Oh, boy. So, but with that being said, it's an honor to be able to sit with you and listen to what you've been able to create. And I hope that anybody listening to this takes away a few important things, which is if you can have the idea in your head, and if you really do want to bring it to life, not only can you, right?
Exactly.
There are people that you can talk to get the help and assistance and guidance that you need. You can listen to this conversation, hear many of the things that you did. And more importantly, we live in a time where almost anything you want to do is possible.
Yes.
Right?
Yes.
You can shout into the void for a period of time. And if you believe in yourself enough and you continue to work, the opportunities will slowly come to you, right?
Absolutely.
Like you don't have to chase everything, right?
Yeah.
Like sometimes you can just do your thing, and if you're operating on the right frequency, which you are, you're going to get there.
That's it.
So I have a great amount of respect for you. I appreciate
Likewise,
you.
Chris. Thank you as always.
Thanks for spending time with us today. Well, with us, like all of our, with our crew, right? With the crew, and most importantly, anybody that would be watching this. I think they'll take a lot from this.
Thank you for having me, Chris. As always, man, you've always been an amazing support system. So keep being an amazing guy and amazing company running.
You got it. Thanks, man.
All right, brother.
Appreciate it.
Cheers.
Bye.